Welcome. Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. Today, we have a wonderful topic, finding your magic and body wisdom. And with me today, I have my fabulous guest. Her name is Mindy Ruddock. And I would like to first just welcome you, Mindy, to this episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I know you have a beautiful experience throughout your life with the connection with your body through movement, using your intuition and finding your magic. But before we dive into this beautiful topic today, I'd love to know, Mindy, who you are and what you do today.
Well, again, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this today. I'm Mindy Ruddock. I'm an intuitive women's wellness coach, but it goes much deeper and further than that for me. Wellness has been a part of my life since I was a very little girl, and this body wisdom, this movement we've talked about began my journey. Started dancing at 5 years old. I have my bachelor's degree in dance, and unfortunately had an injury when my sons were very young. Left the dance and the movement world, but entered the massage therapy world. And through massage therapy, I was able to begin teaching my clients about their own body wisdom and what their body is telling them through what I felt. As my journey and my path continued on, I also became an esthetician. And my most recent movement is my whole family. We practice martial arts. I am a black belt in Nixerio Kempo. My sons are, as well as my husband. And I also recently became a certified yoga teacher. So movement and body and what it has to tell us and what we need to listen to is my language.
Yes, what a beautiful variety of skills and experience you have, tapping into, as you say, your body's wisdom and listening to your intuition and what new dimension that actually brings, in addition to just, as most of us do, using our mind more so than our body's wisdom. So I love this topic, and we can't wait to learn from you. Now, I want to kick off just with your own definition of what does it mean for you to find your magic?
So I call myself a finder of magic. To me, magic is that spark that we all have inside of us. She's that little girl that used to dance in the sprinkler and didn't care what other people thought about. Unfortunately, as that little girl grew up and went through life, she started caring what other people thought, and she was told not to dance under the sprinkler anymore, or not to be the weird one, or however we want to word it. I want to remind women, especially mothers, what it is like to have that spark. As a mother, our focus shifts to those babies and to the raising of our children, and we often forget about ourselves. And finding the magic that lives in each and every single one of us needs to be part of our journey, part of our life, part of who we are. Shouldn't be hidden, should be shared and spread. All of our magic is unique. So I want your unique magic shared out with the world.
Yes, so important. And you bring up a really important shift that we as a collective are in right now with, finding our own unique expression and our own magic, as you say. And I love that you're tapping into here of a topic of our inner child that, yes, I can admit to that myself, that's something that I'm working on myself, bringing back that little girl who was hopping in the sprinkler or, goofing off.
Oh, absolutely. Making potions in the backyard.
Yes, I love that you mentioned that, because yes, if we if anyone who's listening and or watching right now, if you think back to that time when you were a little girl or boy, that is pure magic, really, that energy, that life force that we have. So this might be obvious. The next question I'm going to ask you is, why do you think that, tapping into our body and the wisdom that the body holds, and through that, finding our magic, why is it relevant to the times we're living in now?
We live in a very educated time. We have computers, we have the internet, we want information, we look it up. But sometimes we don't tap into ourself enough to really listen to what we have to say to ourselves. We don't take the time to focus on what we're feeling. We just go by what's being told to us, what we're learning, what's coming in from the out. And if we really tap into our body wisdom, our intuition, calming down, quieting, and focusing in, we can learn even more than what everything around us is telling us. We can learn so much about ourselves and the journey that our mind, body, spirit wants to be on.
Yes. And it sounds like, that journey, what you're pointing out is really that for many, many years or ever, maybe, there are many of us that haven't really had a chance, not slowing down enough to tap into that energy of who am I really, and what is my magic? And I think that's what you're suggesting.
And I was given that opportunity with the pandemic that happened. And I'm sure a lot of us have been given the opportunity. And it's just a reminder that as normalcy returns, there's still so much we have to learn about ourselves, that just because we're going back to the nitty gritty, the normal everyday stuff, don't forget that little girl again. Yeah. Don't forget what that felt like when you were able to meditate, when you were able to take time and focus. Now make it so that your life allows that to happen more.
Yes. So you are a great teacher of awaken that body wisdom and the magic within. Share with us, Mindy, how you got to where you are today. Little highlights from your journey, from where you were and where you are now.
So like I mentioned, I started dancing at 5 years old. And back then it was this is a dance class. We're going to do tap, we're going to do jazz, we're going to do ballet. You're going to do what I tell you. You're going to focus on the movement I'm telling you to do. When I went off to college for dance, I was able to discover modern dance. And we did a lot of improvisation and intuitive movement. And I started to be able to flow and move the way my body was wanting to flow and move. And would I resort back to those lessons I had learned? Sure, those would pop up in. But to learn like what my natural flow, I'm 5 feet tall. I don't move like your average dancer. My body wants to move differently. I had to learn and listen to her and do what it needed. And as I progressed through my life and added massage in, I was then learning how my touch and my movement working with my clients was going to translate, and helping, like I was saying before, helping them unlock this magic in their body. And now even into martial arts, I teach preschool karate, and just watching these little magicians move and learn these set movements I have, but then letting them just be free and remembering, I'm like, oh yeah, we can incorporate running and skipping and jumping and just being free into our classes and stuff. It's fun to watch at that point.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really an advocate for stepping out of the box a little bit, because the the things I know very little about martial arts, but I know that it's could be very strict sometimes in terms of movement and
Absolutely. Yep.
but what you're encouraging is really to tap into yourself first, and then bring that expression out in a different way. So that's a beautiful, evolution of the arts of movement in a way.
So, yeah, I
Now,
like to keep the word art into the martial arts part of it. A lot of people think of that punching, kicking, hitting, but there's such a beauty and such an art to it that's where I come in.
yes, and it's like this art painting with your body in a way.
Absolutely.
Through movements.
Yeah, that's
so
a great
beautiful.
visual.
So for you, if you think back on your journey, if you think back, what is the best thing for you that have come out of this journey of finding your own magic and trusting your intuition and body wisdom?
So the best thing to come out first is learning to trust my intuition. Learning to realize that I'm not going to let myself get hurt. Yes, I might have myself make a risky choice or take the step into those karate classes, even though I'm scared and I'm nervous, but following my intuition, following what my body knows I need to do is definitely one of my biggest takeaways. And then helping others to start seeing that fear doesn't have to keep us from doing things. Fear can be the catalyst to push us forward. Lack of confidence doesn't have to be the thing that holds us back from doing something. It can be the reason that pushes us to try that new thing we haven't done before. Watching other people learn to follow their intuition sparks me. Makes me go, okay, we're on the right path. We're on the right journey. It really excites me. It inspires me, and it helps me keep doing what I'm doing.
So how do you know? I'm curious. How do you know, or how do you see that someone is starting to connect with their body wisdom and their intuition and trust it? How do you as a teacher see that?
I see them starting to be less nervous during classes. We actually just launched a women's program at our karate school, and watching those women come in the first few classes and they're all holding back and they're slightly hesitant and they're apologizing a lot and they're anxious and they're on the verge of tears. And then the next week they come in and they're not apologizing anymore. And they're moving in a way that even 2 weeks ago they weren't moving. They're inviting friends to come to class with them. They're posting on social media that they're now doing this, that this is a part of their life and they're out doing it. Watching them take those bold steps, that one little step, that opening the door and walking in opened for them. They might not realize it right away, but those are the changes and the shifts. When we start working together in partners and one of them takes the lead, and it's not necessarily the person you originally thought would take the lead, but they take the lead and they kind of work and solve the problem and stuff. It's so empowering to watch.
Yes, it sounds like it's beautiful, transformational process, not just going on the outside, but actually inside as well. And by you watching their self-expression change through embodying it, that's going to be very rewarding as a teacher to watch. I love that. Yes. And for you on your journey, what have been some of either resources or specific practices that have supported you along the way of your own journey to find your magic and coming in touch with your body wisdom? Obviously, you went on that path very early on in life through dance, but if you were to highlight some resources or practices that have helped you along the way, what would you want to highlight there?
First and foremost, meditation. Meditation, allowing myself to just be during a meditation. I call a little bug that sits on my shoulder that we sometimes call imposter syndrome, who she likes to talk me out of doing lots of things or letting me know I'm not capable to do a lot of things. But through meditation, I've learned to silence that a little bit more, and just letting go and releasing. I also do a lot of work with crystals. I'm very connected into crystals and what each crystal means and what they signify and what they can give to me and all that stuff. So that's definitely a big resource in my life. And just through meditation, really learning to listen to myself and trust myself.
Yes, those are, I agree with that, fundamental tools for self-awareness. And I love that you're also bringing up crystals in this conversation, because crystals are really a part of the earth and our own bodies. So that connection with crystals and the connection to energy, as well as we are energetic bodies. Yeah, I love that you're bringing that up. And how specifically would you say crystals support you when it comes to body expression or helping you on a day-to-day basis?
So each crystal has its own meanings and things they stand for. There are crystals such as clear quartz, which I have in my necklace here, that help amplify and bring out energies around it. There are crystals that will help kind of support and boost confidence. There are crystals that will create calm. So I like to, as you saw, I have the one I'm wearing. Typically in my pocket, I have a pouch of crystals. Depending on the situation I'm going into, will depend on what I have in that pouch that day. I have crystals all around me.
I do too. Yeah, and I think what you're bringing up is also, the connection to our environment is so important when it comes to finding our magic and trusting our intuition and body wisdom and bringing it all together. Yeah, so I'm not surprised at all that you're, drawn to crystals as well, being a very, physical body centered person and teaching that as well. So yeah, I love that. Now, if somebody's watching or listening this episode today and really are resonating with what you're saying about wanting to connect more with our body wisdom, tapping in through movement and connecting with the whole being through that, what would you say are some of the recommendations that you give someone that just want to start with this?
One of my biggest recommendations is put on the headphones, pick music that speaks to you, close out the world, and just move. Whatever that looks like for you, just do it. It doesn't matter. There's no right, there's no wrong. When your body wants to do it, it will do what it wants to do. Just go with the flow. Whether that's yoga, dancing, banging, drumming, whatever it looks like, it can take on any shape and size.
Yeah. So how about a little dance party, right? That might be a daily practice. And for those who are listening and watching, think about, and maybe a little spark can be of your magic can be ignited today by, like, what is it that I enjoy in terms of music and movement? And maybe, as you suggested in the beginning here, go back to what you used to enjoy when you were little, because that is something that came naturally, and then it may have, for many reasons, fallen off or being disconnected from it. But it's time. It's time now to reconnect with that. So
movement is such a mood booster. you're feeling down in the dumps, you're feeling stressed, go for a walk. You're feeling in a funk and you can't get out of it, get up and move. Be away from the desk, be away from the TV and all that other stuff for a minute and watch your mood change. Watch your focus increase. I mean, it is said in the corporate world that we have nowadays, all the different wellness things that are coming in the corporate world, a lot of it is encourage your employees to move, to not be stuck at their desk all day long, and watch the magic that happens when you do that.
Such powerful advice, Mindy. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I know there will be many listeners who are very curious about what you do and want to learn more about you and your work. So how can we connect with you, Mindy?
You can find me on Facebook. I am a regular on social media. I have a women's Facebook group called the Wellness Path Positivity Project. And that came about right as we went into lockdown. And I started seeing all this negative stuff all over social media. And I started the Positivity Project to inject more positivity into our lives. And it has grown in a year. We have over 300 members, and we talk crystals, we talk meditation, we talk mindfulness, we talk plants, we talk all sorts of things, but we leave the negativity behind. I'm also on Instagram. You can find me on there. But if you're looking for a more in-person, if you're from my area, I'm in Massachusetts. I host a monthly event at our karate school called Mojo at the Dojo. And it's a women's night where we come in for 2 hours into a safe place and we just be together. The first hour is some sort of physical movement. I'm not looking for your level of workout. I'm looking for you to be able to release through that movement, to let it all go, to leave it in the space. And then about halfway, a little bit through, we have a lesson or something that we're focusing on. This most recent one was confidence, courage, and strength. And we do an exercise together. We did mirror work, which is tough to do. And then I guide you through a nice, long, slow guided meditation to help follow your intuition and reach back into yourself and kind of do some healing while you're at it. So if you want to join me in person, you can message me and I'll get you all the information for that.
Yes, check out Mindy's Facebook group and also her work on her website. And this 2-hour session that you have sounds wonderful. I think I'm going to join it.
Absolutely.
So, great. Thank you so much, Mindy, for sharing your wisdom in this episode. And before we wrap up today, I'd love to ask you a little bit of a personal nugget of wisdom. Mindy, what do you live by?
I live by authenticity. Be you. Be true to yourself. And that's where your magic will really come into play. Be your authentic self. There's no need to put on a character and be something else. And I try to live by that every day.
So powerful. Thank you for sharing that, Mindy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching, listening, New Light Living podcast today. I would love to let you know that we will be soon back with another episode. Thank you, Mindy, for being our beautiful guest this week. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Be well.